about the game. Time to play the game! It's all about the game, and how you play it, all about control, and if you can take it, all about you.
Buy this car to drive to work to pay for this car. Buy this car to drive to work.
Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. This is part 3 of the Rogan Crowder saga. More importantly, it's a story, a cautionary tale about authenticity and inauthenticity. And in this part, I think we're going to focus on a little bit more. Well, you'll see Crowder's Crowder. He's kind of telling a mile away, unless you're a dipshit. But Rogan is going to be more of the focus here. And how sad... went from like the energy of like a strong young man or young woman to decrepit old man, like knowing, so like when I was 20 I would beat the shit out of you, like that type of thing, but I'm old and decrepit now, I can't, like that type of thing. I could just be seeing things, but I think Rogan flinches a couple times in this little discussion. Because Crowder is just taking his dishonesty, all the shit we just watched through those first 2 parts, and there's a lot more that I didn't even play within that discussion. He's taking all of that and putting it behind him in order to be like, let's be an adult, and I'm going to say I'm sorry, and I just want to be the nice guy. And it kind of exposes inauthenticity. So, keep all of that in mind. Keep that very strongly in mind. The first 2 clips I played for you already. Keep that in mind. All the shit we saw, all the obvious, I don't even want to say cognitive dissonance. I want to call it dishonesty, straight up. All the pivoting, goalpost moving, gaslighting that Crowder just did, that we all just watched, right? And then Rogan having to, because Rogan saw it too. Much as we see that, Rogan saw that. I'm very sure of that. So here we go. Joe Rogan and Crowder talk pot debate. Here we go. This is so sad.
I'm glad to have you on. And I know yesterday we talked about this in the first segment, the podcast. You wrote a very nice note on Instagram, which was entirely unnecessary. I don't want to say apologizing because you shouldn't apologize, but I hope people see that we can have a disagreement and not hate each other. I think that's actually productive.
I mean, right, I'm working with the context of seeing the whole thing and, attempting to read certain body languages or words being said and all that. Like, walk away and say, we just, we don't hate each other. It's like, I think Rogan saw something about you where it's like, well, cunt, isn't he? Little shit, isn't he? Which you don't have to call that hate, but it's like, it is what it is type of shit, right? This guy's a little shit. A little dishonest, little shit. I'm not going to get to know you enough to hate you. You're you're probably just a little dishonest little fuck. That's what I think Rogan was at. But, he's a nice guy, so.
Yeah, and I think so too. And what I'd said to you before we started was that there's what I always try to do with a podcast is try to have a conversation, like
right.
2 friends just hanging out. And that's what I tried to do at the beginning. And I felt like you kind of had talking points that you wanted to go over, and I wanted to make it more conversational. So
Sure.
I suggested we start drinking.
Yes.
So you notice that, right? You notice that he has talking points he wants to do. What is that, Rogan? You make fun of them all the time, both previously and after the whole Crowder thing. You talk about people who would come in pretending or with talking points. Or what did you say about like Oscar speeches? They're in monkey suits or some shit like that. He had a thing against about inauthenticity, where it's like you're full of shit. You can't just talk like a person. Why you gotta talk like a fucking database or a political database? He sucks at that too. But I'm just saying, this is gonna showcase Rogan's inauthenticity. It's playing out today as well, where I can have Jimmy Dore on for 3 hours. Fast forward, have Bill Maher on a couple hours later. Like, wait, what? Someone's wrong here. Sam Harris, Abby Martin, good point. You have these guys with contradicting ideas and just had Michael Rupert on talking about the CIA selling drugs and all that shit, but also has Mike Baker on who will sell CIA talking points in regards to something like Russia or China. Mainly China. Ben Shapiro has Barry Weiss on, talks about like, man, people, you guys have so much money, you should be doing something with it. Kids are getting hurt. What were they talking about? They're talking about circumcision. Then you have Ben on and nothing. Yeah. Maybe they argued it, but I doubt he's like, hey, this kills babies and shit. And your sky daddy doesn't like accept that. That's what he used to say about religion. Now him and Ben are friends. Who said he's too nice? Beard, skinny. Ari Shafir. The Ari Shafir? He's like, you would have never let this little shit stain just get away with this. He didn't put it in those words, but it might have been Ari Shafir that like pressed him on. No? Any guy with a beard? Tom Segura? Bert Kreischer? They're all bearded. Tony Hinchcliffe? He doesn't have a beard. Really? Tony Hinchcliffe? He has a beard now? Alright, I'm gonna keep playing this.
Which is fine for a little while.
One would say you almost pressured me to begin drinking.
I would say that too. And then it got to the marijuana subject, and things got a little heated. And you know, I make the mistake of oftentimes communicating like I would with my friends in what I think is just a joking and but aggressive way.
Yeah.
And I didn't anticipate your reaction to it, and you got defensive. And what
Called meathead shit.
my friends in what I think is just a joking and but aggressive way.
Yeah.
And I didn't anticipate your reaction to it, and you got defensive. And one thing I didn't take into consideration that I wrote in the Instagram thing is that you get attacked a lot.
This is true.
You get attacked a lot in a kind of a scary way. And I think you've done some really bold things and some really courageous things, like the whole Muhammad thing. I mean, you didn't have to do that, and you did it.
Yes, it was Duncan Trussell.
Really dangerous thing. And you get attacked so much that you're always kind of thinking that someone's setting you up. And I didn't want you to think that I was setting you up, and I had no intention whatsoever when you came on to set you up. I genuinely like you. I think you're a good guy, and I like talking to you, and I like talking to you off air. And I was trying to...
I really don't think he believes that. I really don't. Maybe, if I had to guess, here's what I think Rogan does. I think he forces it into his ego. Meanwhile, all his other senses are like, oh, this guy's full of shit, this guy's full of shit, this guy's full of shit. Like, no, push it away. Must be a good guy. He smiled. We went out to dinner and talked. We're friends. Thus, Rogan's inauthenticity. We saw that fucking, right? Like we weren't being tricked in the mind, right? We watched that those clips I just played in part 1 and part 2, right? There's no fucking way that he walked away from that like, he's just a really good guy. Come on, bro. 22-year-old Rogan would beat the fuck out of this guy. Beat the living shit out of him. Like, what are you talking about?
Kind of recreate off air, on air, and it didn't seem like it was happening at the beginning of the podcast, and so that's why I suggested booze.
Well, no, I appreciate it. Looking back kind of on yesterday, because if you look at kind of obviously the backlash, I think for both of us involved, what do you think, and I'll say, what do you think we should have done differently to be more productive, I guess?
Oh, we definitely shouldn't have gotten drunk, for me.
I wasn't drunk.
You weren't drunk.
I really wasn't drunk. No, I had one beer.
Okay, well, you had a little whiskey too, right?
That stuff was awful, Gentleman Jack. We'll get you some real bourbon.
I kind of like the fact that it's awful. That was not, but also I think I need to get to know you better, like where you don't and we both don't get weird over conversations like that. Well, we can't just look at facts and pull things up. And I didn't want you to think that Jamie was ganging up on you, and that's what where things went bad, is that when you were stating something about the highway fatalities and it was contrary to what I thought was the case, and then we pulled up the facts, I didn't want you to think that we were ganging up on you. I just wanted to find out, was I wrong? Were you right? Were you wrong? Was I
not to revisit it? But can I bring up something that I didn't have time to yesterday?
Sure.
And this is something I think is important because, respectfully, Jamie is not experienced in sourcing articles or looking up news to the same degree that we are. So the very thing he brought up.
Unfucking real. Unfucking real. Imagine like doing something where like you might think you're correct about it, right? Go out of your way, but you made someone feel bad about it. You're like, you know what? I'm sorry for making you feel bad about whatever. You're like, yeah, you should be sorry. Like, essentially saying something like, or making excuses or whatever the fuck. Like, bullshit excuse. Like, no, we both know what happened. But you're like, that's creepy to me. Creepy or childish. Unfucking real. Can't, like, come on. Would old Rogan let him just get away with saying that when he's like, hey man, I'm going out of my way to be nice to you. What the fuck is this?
Wrong? Was I what's
not to revisit it? Not to revisit it. But can I bring up something that I didn't have time to yesterday?
Sure.
And this is something I think is important because
something I didn't have time to bring up, you know. And this is what the point you fucking make.
Respectfully, Jamie is not experienced in sourcing articles or looking up news to the same degree that we are. So the very thing he brought up, I remember, and here's, because I was talking about this earlier, my mental monologue. I thought, I screwed up here.
That hamster, that head, pause. Rogan's head is spinning when he hears that shit. What? Unreal. You're not. You guys aren't as experienced as. Like, I gave you a laptop, dipshit. Like, go on. He knows this is dishonest.
Sourcing articles or looking up news to the same degree that we are. So the very thing he brought up, I remember, and here's, because I was talking about this earlier, my mental monologue. I thought, oh no, I've screwed up here. And that's what I said, you know what, Joe, I think you're probably right. I'll give it to you. And the reason why was because Jamie brought up factcheck.org. That was the main source he brought up.
No, he brought up Washington Post.
And it was originally from the factcheck.org was the source they were talking about. So there were a couple that he brought up. But I remember when he brought up factcheck.org, I saw it and I thought, oh, crap. Because I've read that and we've written about that. And I remember thinking, you know what? I must have read that wrong because that's actually an article we've sourced. And it must have meant the opposite because right below what he highlighted, it actually did say Gary Johnson was wrong. Increases in the incidences were significant. Marijuana-related traffic deaths increased by 154% between 06 to 014. This was in his source that he brought up. So my point is I can't read it, right? And this is why I get defensive. I can't read it because this TV's not working. I can't know what Jamie's bringing up. I'm going on memory. He has a never-ending cheat sheet. And there's no way that I can argue with that. And I would say, you're right about this. I'm incorrect. When I get defensive, it was when two people are saying, admit that you're lying, that it's bullshit. And I really, looking at his own sources, I don't think I was.
Well, I don't think we were saying you were lying. What I think we were saying is you were incorrect. And I have read multiple things that said that the traffic fatalities decreased, particularly in Colorado.
Right.
Who's right or who's wrong? I don't know. I mean, we'd have to go seriously digging.
Right. But his own source said that's wrong, is my point. And in real time, I can't fact check him because I don't have a computer, right?
Right. And he brought up also that could also be attributed to the fact that the population of Denver, Colorado increased substantially once marijuana became legal as well. You have to factor that in.
Right.
I think when you're talking about driving impaired, I do not think that marijuana has the same effect as alcohol. It certainly doesn't. However, I don't think it's a good idea to drive up.
Right.
Whether you're on marijuana, especially on edibles. I mean, edibles
hold on a second. That wasn't even a part of the equation. I really would advise against that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we.
My God. Imagine Bill Hicks being alive and watching Rogan do this. And he's, whoa. Hicks would, in my opinion, Hicks would be shitting all over fucking Rogan because he knows what. We can see what the fuck Rogan's doing. Crowder's audience may not know it, but it's like Rogan is going out of his way, be nice, so that he doesn't hurt Crowder too much, whether it's on a fame level or if it's on a I don't want to hurt you as a person level. Like, come on, because it wasn't just about Crowder being wrong about a topic, right? You can debate the topic all day. It wasn't really about that. It was about how he went about it and how he's still going about it. I didn't have my super duper fact finding team on my side to help me out here. You had Jamie with his cheat sheet, who's not used to sourcing information. Not as good as us. Like flaunting it in front of him. It's like, come on, bro. Like, is that fucking nice? Is that cool to do, Rogan? By your standards, would you fucking do that to someone? Holy shit. You have to know this guy's like a little cunt. You have to know this. But here we go.
We both dug in our heels and we agreed probably on a lot more than we disagreed.
I think you're right. I think we definitely both dug in our heels. And like I said, there's a lot involved in that. First of all, I got a hangover from this goddamn pipe that you left me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to send you an article on how to use it properly.
Oh, yeah. The tobacco. I was high as a kite from it, for sure.
From the tobacco?
Yes. Yeah. Before I even started drinking, my head was spinning. Because I definitely was inhaling a bunch of times.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that can happen.
And I don't say that because of high. I said because you can actually get little flecks of tobacco in your lungs. That's not filtered.
Yeah, I just got here from a yoga class. I took a 90-minute yoga class. I might have coughed some of that up in there.
You might cough it up.
I might have, some little flakes of tobacco might have come out.
Why is Joe behaving like the girl from The Exorcist? Yeah, and I would say this. I will say in my mind too. So I thought, well, did I screw up? And I looked back now, and we talked about it early in the show. I don't think I did. I don't back down the statements that I've made as far as my position. I don't think that you're wrong. My point is, if you look at the articles and how we sourced it, I knew we weren't bullshitting. And I know because, like you said, the left is always going, they're full of shit. This is a lie. I know, hold on a second. This went up. We had a AAA study, the fact check study. There's a difference between bullshitting and having a difference of opinion looking at interpreting data. And I wanted to make that clear. Because I still...
Oh, it's unbelievable. Unfucking believable, bro. And Rogan he's gonna let this slide. I think he is. I think he's gonna let something like that slide where it's like, oh my God, the fucking devil's in your room and you're just letting him fucking go. Let him fucking preach to the crowd right now, bro. You know better. You did the Carlos Mencia thing. That was you, Rogan. And this shit is just flying in front of you. Like, no, we weren't. It wasn't propaganda or anything. We just accidentally, we interpret data differently. It's like, come on, bro. Rogan was saying it in the fucking interview, in the podcast, where he's like, man, you are locked in, aren't you? You were locked in on this, like, whatever agenda shit you got going on, whatever political agenda shit you got going on. Right? Dumb guy logic sees that a fucking mile away. Like, what the fuck's with this guy? How come he ain't saying anything fucking real? How come everything's a fucking political debate about left and right? Right? Rogan was supposed to pride himself on real conversations. Like, you should be able to notice when someone's trying to drag you into some sort of political talking point bullshit. Unreal. Has to be something. Has to have under, right? You can't see his hands, but I hope it's a fucking clenched fist. Like, what the fuck is this fucking guy? Like, just a couple more minutes. Let's get out of here. Couple more minutes. We can fucking move on with our lives. Don't have to deal with this fucking guy. Holy shit. But, you know, this is Rogan's form of inauthenticity.
The fact check study. There's a difference between bullshitting and having a difference of opinion looking at interpreting data. And I wanted to make that clear, because I will still say the jury can be out, and you may be right, but it was certainly, I think, a study worthy of note. And then on my side,
Come on, he has to know. Rogan has to know some of the statistics he was bringing up, and Rogan's just like, no, it's not an anecdotal fucking story. Like, no, they actually did like straight up like tests with this stuff. So no, it's like kind of not up to interpretation at that point. At least Rogan's sense of the world, right? Me, there would be to some degree, but for Rogan and the way he states things, like, no, there is no walking around as after they did scientific tests on it or whatever. There is no, it's up to interpretation. Anyways.
So what I would change is, because I know you're Joe Rogan, obviously. I mean, Alpha, will say the jury can be out, and you may be right, but it was certainly, I think, a study worthy of note. And then on my side, what I would change is, because I know you're Joe Rogan, obviously. I mean, alpha brain, alpha male. I've seen you run roughshod over people who are like, well, okay, Joe, and they get scared. And I didn't want to be that guy, because I knew you wouldn't respect that guy who just goes, okay.
He's Rogan, I bet you. Just 5 seconds of like realness, and then you can go back to pandering to avoid conflict.
Roughshod over people who are like, well, okay, Joe, and they get scared. And I didn't want to be that guy, because I knew you wouldn't respect that guy who just goes, okay.
What?
Maybe you would.
Well, I mean, I didn't want you to be defensive, if that's what you mean. I didn't expect you to dig your heels in. I didn't expect you to be submissive either. I just wanted to have a conversation. Yeah. It just didn't go well. You know?
I did it because I didn't think you would like me. Fuck out of here.
Let's practice. But it's only part of
like
it.
Like, you
that
want
didn't
his
go well.
audience.
You
really come on, Crowder.
Podcast. I mean, that was a fucking long podcast.
You want you want the reputation and audience shit with Rogan.
Like 20 minutes
the business
of it, we
deal.
talked about pot, and that's all anybody is focused
on. What about you two would ever be like hanging around each other? As far as like friendship and stuff. Like what? Jiu-jitsu maybe?
On. Which is, but that's
well, that's because that's what Jamie uploaded as a highlight too.
No, he didn't.
Oh,
somebody uploaded was it like 20 minutes of it. We talked about pot, and that's all anybody is focusing on. Which is, but that's
well, that's because that's what Jamie uploaded as a highlight too.
You're trying to embarrass me. You're a fucking psycho, bro.
No, he didn't.
Oh,
did somebody upload it as a highlight?
Maybe somebody else did. I don't know.
No, I think somebody else did.
Yeah.
But either way, the conversations that we had before that were very civil.
Yeah.
And then we ended very civil too. But I think people have this tendency to gravitate towards conflict. They enjoy it. It's like, have you ever gone to, I'm sure you have, you go to a fighter's page after a UFC bout and you read all the shit talk that people say to them? I mean, it's horrendous. I mean,
my favorite page is Mark.
Come on, bro. If you thought about it for 3 seconds, Rogan, you'd figure out that certain things, conflict is necessary. Because the fucking snake is in the hen house. Or was it the fox? Whatever. The fox is in the fucking hen house. You try, hey guys, there's a fucking fox right there. It's in the fucking hen house. No, there's not. And the guy who goes out of their way without even looking for themselves is, the fox isn't there. It's not there. Like, wait a minute, are you fucking lying? You being dishonest? Guys, we can't have all this conflict. Stop fighting. Just say you believe this and you believe that. Let's walk away. Meanwhile, the hens are fucked. You're not bring up like what we just witnessed between you two. You're not compare that to fans that are pissed off their guy lost in the UFC fight. They go and they fucking troll the guy who defeated him. Do not compare those, man. Oh yeah. Wait. You're about to be the leader of the free world? Hey, you should just turn your comments off. People are just gonna talk shit. Just avoid the comments. Turn them off. Holy shit. Think about it for 5 seconds, Rogan. Come on, bro. We'll never hear this. Protected. I don't even mean anything like creepy. I mean, let's continue.
Cunts after his fights or something happens. You just read it. He's just like, fucking steroids, mate. Everything. It just goes in and he just tells, they hang me out to dry. F the UFC. F you. F Brock Lesnar. You're sitting here like, Mark, just tone it back. This is going to be admissible.
That was Mark. I was talking about fans. I mean, fans like after like Ronda Rousey recently lost, I went and checked like some of her, like the online things, the things that people were saying about her. I mean, people love jumping in on something that really doesn't, they're not really connected to it, but they connect themselves to it. They love
what a sociologist, psychologist.
Essentially, nothing is at stake for them, but they can really get whatever rocks off they have.
And thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate.
Okay. Actually, let me learn.
Appreciate it. I'm glad. Hopefully, people see this and think, "Oh, okay, we'll miss it." Maybe they don't hate each other.
Dude, I don't hate you at all. I think you're a good guy, and that's why I made that Instagram post. And I saw this back and forth both ways. People mad at you, people mad at me. It was just.
I was like, "Hey, Rogan, why is he a good guy?" He won't be able to answer that. He won't. No one will ask him. And maybe Duncan.
So stupid. And it was just, a drunken hiccup in a long conversation.
Hey, if you like this video.
I don't even think he believes that.
A drunken.
Was Rogan drunk? Guys. People who have drank alcohol. Was Rogan drunk right there? Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
Hiccup in a long conversation.
Hey, if you like this video, subscribe.
A drunken hiccup in a long conversation.
And then you just let this guy use you. That's so fucking disappointing. We all saw what happened. We saw what happened. And then he goes on a show. He goes on Crowder's show, hands him a whip and says, "Go to work. Go ahead, do your thing. I'll take the ass whipping." Unreal, bro. So there you go. This is the third and final part. As you can see, this part we focused on Joe Rogan and his inauthenticity because we saw what happened in those clips. We saw it. Rogan saw it too. He saw what the fuck Crowder was doing. But he decided, like, you know what? He got some stupid notion of being of that meaning being the bigger man. Fuck out of here. That works with people who recognize each other as well-meaning, and they have a disagreement about something. They're like, "Oh fuck, that insult went a little too far. But I'm gonna be the bigger man and apologize. Say I should approach you this way." That's when well-meaning recognizes well-meaning. You don't recognize well-meaning, and you could be dealing with something that's pernicious. A fox in the fucking hen house. And what happens when we just let that shit slide? Unfucking real. And then someone's gonna complain about the world after that too. Unreal. And people just want conflict. You said, do you go to rape victims and be like, you just want conflict? That's why you're complaining so much. Maybe someone thinks there's some sort of moral thing on the table. Maybe you should do some sort of assessment to find out if it is a moral issue or if it's just complaining because they're fans of something. Maybe you can find a way to try to make that distinction with people and how they're behaving. Fuck. Only if Rogan had resources, then he could maybe figure something out. But for now, we'll wait. Not quite. Doesn't have quite enough resources to do anything like that. Instead, he'll let this dishonest devil worshiper get by. In fact, not just get by, boost them up. Daddy Crowder, I'm sorry. It got out of hand. I was drunk. Unfucking real. All your senses tell you the exact opposite, and that's bullface fucking. I think. Try not to use the word lying, but I don't know. He could be fucking just lying. Man. Could be real. I'm not going to say I know that's the case, but it's like you are like rocks for brains. You're being honest in those moments. You know what? I was just drunk. Even that doesn't make sense. Even that doesn't make sense. Sorry, he was not drunk. Not be silly about this. I didn't even see him drink anything during that whole exchange there. That was a full like hour and a half. Like that section, the whole section about or from Reagan to marijuana to that's like a good chunk of that podcast. Yeah. Maybe inhibitions were down, but definitely not drunk. Not Eddie Bravo drunk, at least. All right, that's it for me. Please subscribe if you like, comment, agree, disagree. Is Rogan just being authentic throughout that entire thing? You tell me. That'd be a stretch for me to say that he was just being real that whole thing. Or he swallowed his pride. You could say that. Maybe he swallowed his pride, but at the same time, it's like someone does something shady in front of you. It's like, I want to be nice. I don't want any conflict. Someone just robbed that, like just pickpocketed some old lady. Her life savings, just ran away with it. Snuck away. Didn't even sprint away, just snuck away. No one saw it but you. I know, conflict though. Rogan actually has real life examples of that. There's someone getting fucked up. Literally hid behind my car. I think he said something like that. Yep. Brilliant. Ugh. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate. Devon's journey to recovery, to helping victims of Africom. Cohen Daly, the Australian boy. Also, help out some content creators. Stevie, a.k.a. Redneck Economics. Sleepy J, buy him a coffee. And if you have money left over, please donate to Ali Alexandra. All links in the description box. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in, and then you wanna get out. When you get the money to buy yourself a car.